In this challenge review, we're going to add our jump animation. So we have our transition here, and one of the things that we need to do is inside our player script, we need to access that parameter that basically tells us when we should be playing our jump and when we shouldn't. One of the things I'm going to do is we want to make sure that we're using our player animation class. So to do this, we want to basically tell the animator to jump. So inside here, we're going to have a public method, public void, we'll call it jump. And this function we need to call from our player. So here we're going to say underscore player animation dot jump, and we're good to go. Likewise, we need to then tell us that we should either be grounded or if we're jumping, right? So we need to basically tell the program, are you jumping or are you grounded? Because we want to use the same function for both. I don't want to have a method to call here that is just for set grounded. You know, I don't want to have public void set ground. That's useless. I can just call the jump method and it can tell me if I should be playing my animation or not. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say player anim dot jump. And one of the things we can do is how does this function know if you're jumping or not? Well, what if we pass in a bool that we can then keep track of? So here we're going to say jump bool, and let's go ahead and say jumping. So bool jumping, if it's true, then we want to play our jump animation, but if it's false, we need to make sure that we're grounded. So here we're going to pass in true for this. So player anim, we say player anim jump, and are we jumping? True. And then here, if we're grounded, are we jumping? False. What we can do now is we grab those values and they're stored in this local variable here, in this parameter. So now what we can do is we can simply say anim dot set bool. We have our jumping bool, which is going to be the parameter name that we see here in the animator view, jumping. And the value that we're going to pass into that is going to be whatever is passed through from the player. So our jumping bool. We can go ahead and save this and let's test it out. Let's run the game. All right, we can move around if I jump. So right now it does go to the jump. You can see here we are in jump, but we are in jump indefinitely. It's not transitioning back. So if we look here, it looks like it's saying it's a jump was called. And let's make sure our transitions are correct here. We have has exit time is off, duration, and this one here. Jumping, fixed duration, transition duration is 0, has exit time is false. Jumping to idle. So right now, I don't believe it thinks we're grounded. It is not transitioning properly. Oh, and you know what, guys? The reason for this could be that this animation is looping. And I believe it is. So if we actually select the animation inside of our player, if you go into characters, player, animations, you'll see here the run animation or the jump animation. Make sure you turn loop time off. Save your scene. Let's run this again. And we should have our desired behavior. I'm going to jump. And it's still going to loop on the jump. Let's see here. If hitInfo.collider is not equal null, if reset jump is false, we're going to do player anim.jump is false, which is correct. And then here we're going to say anim set bool jumping, whatever the bool should be. Let's add a debug.log in here to make sure we are grounded. Save this. Let Unity compile. Let's go ahead and run this again. I'm going to, let's see here. So right now it actually is not detecting that we are grounded, or that log is not printing out. If we jump, it's also not playing the correct frame animation. So it says we're in the jump animation, but it's not using our frames. Now that actually could be because we never actually added our jump animations. So if you go into the animator and I look here in the jump, it's actually clear. Let's fix that. Go ahead and drop into your jump sprite, and from 0 to 29, drag this into the animation view. And let's set the samples to about 25. If we go into our scene view, you should be able to see the animation. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead, save our scene. Let's run this again. And here, if we jump now, we have our jump and everything works as expected. So for the first time at least, it looks like what's happening here is our player is not detecting if we're grounded anymore. So here we have grounded is 4, jump. It seems that our raycasting has hindered here. So let's go ahead and actually increase the length of this just a bit. Here we have our raycast at 0.6f. I'm going to remake that 1 unit again. So change that to a 1. I'm also going to debug.log that ray. So debug.drawRay from transform.position. And then the direction is vector2.down, 1 unit. And then color.green, so we can see the line. Okay, let's save this. Let Unity compile. All right, so if we select our player here, we have our player script. Our grounded method is not being called, it seems. Let's see here. And actually that may make sense, as we only want to do that when we hit the space key. I believe actually we're only calling is grounded when we actually jump. So that makes sense that it wouldn't know that it's always grounded. It's only ever being checked here. So one of the things that we may want to do is actually add in this bool for grounded. So we're going to say private bool underscore grounded equals false. And let's just set it to true in here. So under our movement here, we're going to call our movements, player in a move, player rigid body, and let's just check if we're grounded. We'll check it in here after we get the user input. So here we're going to say grounded equals is grounded. That way we're constantly casting that raycast, and it will know when to transition between jump and idle. So let that compile. Let's restart our game. And here we go. We have our constant raycast. Grounded is true. If I jump, we have our jump animation. And as soon as it comes back to grounded, now you can see here that it transitions back to idle. If I jump again, we do our jump animation. And we always go back to idle. Now what happens if I run and jump? Nothing, right? It's not playing the jump animation. And the reason for that is because we don't have a transition from running to jump. If we look at our animator here, we only have a transition from idle to jump. So let's go ahead and incorporate the run in the next video.